Welcome to True Crime Pulse, where we uncover the most shocking and perplexing crimes from across the nation. Today, we take you to Leavenworth, Kansas, a seemingly quiet, conservative suburb where one woman's secret life led to a horrifying murder that shocked the entire community. This is the story of Deanna Andrews, a 32-year-old devoted housewife whose hidden affair with a neighbor's teenage daughter spiraled into a tragic and violent death. Deanna appeared to have the perfect life: a loving husband, a beautiful home, and three lively triplets: Carlin, Castle, and Kingsley. She was deeply involved in her children's school activities and the community, volunteering for everything from bake sales to charity drives. To her neighbors, Deanna was a kind and warm-hearted woman who seemed to have it all. Her husband, Ryan Andrews, a successful corporate lawyer, spent much of his time away from work. The family often attended church at Union Lutheran of Leavenworth, where Deanna led a Bible study group. They were the picture-perfect family, but beneath the surface, Deanna's life was far from idyllic. Over the years, her marriage had grown cold and distant. Ryan's demanding job kept him away, leaving Deanna isolated and unfulfilled. Longing for excitement, she found an unexpected escape in her 18-year-old neighbor, Cassidy Morris. What began as a friendly mentorship soon became a secret and forbidden affair. Deanna became infatuated with Cassidy, captivated by the teenager's energy and youth. This relationship, which Deanna kept hidden from everyone, became her way of coping with the void left by her crumbling marriage. In the days leading up to her death, Deanna's behavior became erratic. She withdrew from her usual activities and grew possessive of Cassidy, worrying friends and neighbors. No one, however, could have foreseen the horrifying events that were about to unfold. On the morning of September 5, 2018, Ryan Andrews returned home after an overnight shift. The house was unusually quiet, and as he climbed the stairs to the bedroom, a sense of dread overcame him. Pushing open the slightly ajar door, he discovered Deanna's lifeless body lying on the floor, a pool of blood around her head. The bedroom was in complete disarray: furniture overturned, glass shattered, and signs of a violent struggle everywhere. A small handgun lay near Deanna's body, the apparent murder weapon. Ryan, overcome with shock, called 911 in a panicked frenzy. When police arrived, they found him pale and trembling beside his wife's body. The gruesome scene quickly drew the attention of neighbors and the media, transforming the quiet street into the epicenter of a grisly murder investigation. Detective Olga Wandel, known for her meticulous approach, led the investigation. Her team pieced together the evidence: a chaotic crime scene, signs of a struggle, and the discovery of the weapon. Deanna's injuries and the bedroom state suggested she had fought desperately against her attacker. As the investigation unfolded, the community of Leavenworth struggled to reconcile the horrific crime with the woman they thought they knew. Deanna Andrews had appeared to live a perfect life, but behind closed doors, a dangerous secret ultimately led to her tragic and untimely end. As the questioning of Ryan Andrews continued, his responses were slow and disjointed, reflecting a mix of grief and disbelief. His voice faltered, and his words often trailed off, as if his mind were struggling to process the reality of his wife's murder. Detective Olga Wandel, though sympathetic to his emotional state, was acutely aware of the ticking clock. The first 48 hours after a homicide were crucial, and she knew that any missed detail could mean the difference between solving the case or letting it grow cold. The crime scene in the Andrews home had already yielded several significant clues, and she was determined to pursue every lead before they slipped away. One of those leads was Cassidy Morris, the 18-year-old neighbor and the first major suspect in the investigation. Cassidy was well known in Leavenworth for her outgoing yet rebellious personality, a sharp contrast to the town's conservative norms. A senior at Leavenworth High School, she was weeks away from graduating and had recently been accepted to the University of Texas at Austin, where she planned to study environmental science. Her passions for activism and animal welfare had earned her respect among peers, but her defiance of small-town expectations also made her stand out. Beneath her seemingly confident exterior, however, Cassidy harbored a dark and complicated secret. What had begun as a mentorship with Deanna Andrews had quickly evolved into a clandestine romantic and sexual relationship. Cassidy recounted how Deanna, who initially took her under her wing to teach her how to navigate the expectations of their tight-knit community, had grown increasingly possessive. Their once thrilling affair had taken a toxic turn, with Deanna exerting control and frequently pushing Cassidy to experiment beyond her comfort zone. Friends noticed changes in Cassidy as the affair progressed. Once sociable and vibrant, she had become withdrawn, skipping her usual hangouts and avoiding gatherings with her peers. The local Starbucks, where Cassidy and her friends often met, became a place she rarely visited. Instead, she seemed isolated and preoccupied, a stark departure from her usual self. When detectives brought Cassidy in for questioning, her nervousness was palpable. She fidgeted with her hands, avoided eye contact, and hesitated before answering questions. Initially, Cassidy was reluctant to divulge details about her relationship with Deanna, but as the interrogation continued, she admitted to the affair. She described how, in the weeks leading up to Deanna's death, the relationship had grown increasingly strained. Deanna, she said, would call her incessantly, sometimes at odd hours, demanding that Cassidy drop everything to meet her for sex. Cassidy also revealed that Deanna had threatened to expose their relationship if Cassidy attempted to end it, leaving the teenager feeling trapped and emotionally overwhelmed. These threats, combined with Deanna's erratic behavior, had pushed Cassidy to her breaking point. When pressed about her whereabouts on the night of the murder, Cassidy claimed she had been at a friend's house studying for final exams. While her alibi seemed plausible, detectives remained skeptical, noting her anxious demeanor and the strained dynamics of her relationship with Deanna. Meanwhile, Ryan Andrews, Deanna's 36-year-old husband, was also under scrutiny. A corporate lawyer known for his ability to navigate legal loopholes for major retail companies, Ryan had a demanding career that kept him away from home for extended periods. Though respected for his professional success, his aloof and private nature contrasted sharply with Deanna's active role in the community. Over the years, Ryan and Deanna's marriage had grown distant, with neighbors and friends noting the increasing tension between them. Deanna had confided in close friends that she felt neglected in their sexless marriage, often describing herself as more of a single parent than a partner. Ryan's frequent absences and preoccupation with work had strained their bond, leaving Deanna longing for connection. On the night of the murder, Ryan claimed to have been working overnight at his office in downtown Kansas City. He provided time-stamped emails and phone records to corroborate his alibi, which detectives initially found credible. However, Ryan's calm demeanor during questioning raised red flags. Though he expressed sorrow over his wife's death, his detachment struck Detective Wandel as unsettling. As the investigation progressed, the strained state of Ryan's marriage and the volatile nature of Deanna's relationship with Cassidy both emerged as potential motives for murder. The detectives knew they were unraveling a deeply tangled web, and that every detail, no matter how small, could be the key to solving the case. The detectives knew that every detail surrounding Cassidy Morris's actions and emotions needed to be meticulously examined as they pieced together the final events leading to Deanna Andrews' death. Cassidy, a 42-year-old single mother and the third suspect in this unfolding drama, had built a life of grit and resilience. She worked tirelessly as a stripper at a Topeka nightclub near the state capitol building, often taking double shifts to ensure her daughter, Cassidy, never went without. Though her occupation drew whispers in their conservative Leavenworth community, Cassidy was unapologetic, prioritizing financial stability and her daughter's future over the judgment of others. Cassidy had always been known as a fiercely independent and no-nonsense woman. She was a devoted mother who raised Cassidy to value her education, independence, and integrity, all while managing the demands of her grueling job. Her relationship with Deanna Andrews had started as one of mutual camaraderie, both women bonding over shared experiences of motherhood and balancing home life. Yet over the years, their friendship became more complex and fraught with unspoken tensions, especially as Cassidy began noticing alarming changes in Cassidy. Cassidy, once outgoing and full of life, had grown distant, withdrawn, and secretive. She avoided heart-to-heart conversations with her mother and began making excuses to spend time away from home. Cassidy, attuned to her daughter's emotions, sensed something was wrong. Suspicions solidified into certainty when Cassidy began skipping her usual activities, appearing more anxious and detached. Though Cassidy couldn't put her finger on the cause, her instincts told her that Deanna, her trusted friend, was somehow involved. A few days before the murder, Cassidy decided to confront Deanna. The encounter took place in the driveway of the Andrews' picturesque suburban home, an idyllic facade masking the turmoil within. What started as a tense exchange soon escalated into a heated argument. Destiny accused Deanna of corrupting her daughter and demanded that she end whatever inappropriate relationship she had with Cassidy. Deanna, caught off guard, denied the accusations but quickly grew defensive. Her demeanor shifted from calm defiance to barely veiled hostility as she dismissed Destiny's concerns. Words were exchanged, some heated, others sharp enough to cut the fragile veneer of their friendship. By the time the confrontation ended, Destiny stormed away, feeling frustrated, uneasy, and deeply concerned for Cassidy's future. When Detective Olga Wandel brought Destiny in for questioning, the team was already aware of this confrontation and intended to probe deeper into her involvement. Despite her typically composed nature, Destiny appeared visibly stressed during the interrogation. Her hands fidgeted as she recounted the driveway argument, her voice cracking at moments when she described the fear and frustration she felt over Cassidy's deteriorating mental state. While she admitted to the altercation, Destiny vehemently denied having anything to do with Deanna's death. She explained that her actions stemmed solely from a mother's instinct to protect her daughter from harm. The detectives pressed Destiny further, especially about her whereabouts on the night of the murder. Destiny claimed she had been at work during the critical hours, performing her regular shift at the club in Topeka. She provided time-stamped records from the club's clock-in and clock-out system as evidence to corroborate her alibi. Though the documentation seemed to confirm her story, the detectives were reluctant to dismiss her as a suspect. Destiny's proximity to the crime scene and the emotional intensity of her argument with Deanna cast long shadows of doubt over her claims. The image of a mother driven to extreme measures to protect her child lingered in the minds of the detectives, leaving them unable to fully rule her out. As the investigation progressed, Destiny's role remained a crucial thread in the narrative, a potential key to unlocking the truth of what had truly happened in the Andrews home. On the night of Deanna Andrews' murder, the fragile bond between her and Cassidy Morris finally broke under the unbearable weight of secrecy and manipulation. The hidden footage, discovered later by investigators, revealed a chilling exchange in which Deanna threatened to expose their sexual relationship by releasing intimate videos she had secretly recorded. Deanna's ultimatum was clear. If Cassidy ever attempted to end their illicit affair, she would be forced to endure the public humiliation of having their secret laid bare for the world to see. This cruel manipulation pushed Cassidy beyond her limits. She felt cornered, trapped in a toxic relationship with no way out, and the overwhelming sense of fear and desperation clouded her judgment. Amid this overwhelming panic, Cassidy made a split-second decision that would change her life forever. She reached for the gun that Deanna kept on her nightstand and, in a moment of sheer terror, fired. The scene in Deanna's bedroom, when police later arrived, was a stark reflection of the struggle that had taken place. Furniture lay overturned and glass was scattered across the floor, all testifying to a violent confrontation that had escalated into a deadly tragedy. Detective Olga Wandel, having reviewed the evidence and pieced together the events, was now confident in her case. She knew the truth, but the search for justice was just beginning. At exactly 8 p.m. on September 19, 2018, police officers arrived at the Morris residence, their steps heavy with the weight of the investigation. Cassidy was found sitting calmly on the couch in the living room, beside her mother, Destiny. The officers delivered the news with somber professionalism, calmly informing Cassidy that she was under arrest for the murder of Deanna Andrews. The words seemed to hang in the air as Cassidy sat motionless, her body visibly shaking. But at that moment, she didn't resist. Cassidy seemed almost relieved, as if the crushing weight of her secret had finally been lifted from her shoulders. The tension that had consumed her for months now seemed to dissipate, replaced by a strange, hollow sense of release. Destiny, however, was left in a state of absolute shock. She had never imagined that her daughter, the girl she had raised and protected, could be involved in such a dangerous and complicated affair. The revelation was more than she could process. It left her speechless, unable to comprehend the magnitude of the situation unfolding before her eyes. The arrest of her daughter, someone she had always viewed as innocent, sent a shockwave through the family and the entire community. News of Cassidy's arrest spread quickly, leaving everyone in Leavenworth, Kansas reeling. The impact was felt most deeply by Deanna's family. Her husband, Ryan Andrews, was shattered by the brutal reality that his wife had been not only unfaithful but also engaged in a relationship that had spiraled out of control. The couple's 3 young children, just 9 years old, were left without their mother in the most horrific way imaginable. Ryan, who had once been a successful corporate lawyer, now found himself struggling to hold his life together. The devastation of losing his wife and the terrible circumstances surrounding her death forced him to take a leave of absence from work to focus on raising his children and trying to help them cope with the trauma of losing their mother. He tried to shield them from the details of the case, but the emotional scars left by Deanna's death would stay with them forever. As the community grappled with the shocking revelation of the crime, the emotional toll on Cassidy's family was no less profound. Destiny, having worked tirelessly to support her daughter throughout her life, was consumed with guilt. How could she have missed the signs of Cassidy's distress? The relationship between Cassidy and Deanna had been kept hidden from her for so long, and Destiny couldn't shake the feeling that, as a mother, she had failed to protect her child from harm. Ryan Andrews had long sensed that cracks were forming in his marriage, but he never could have imagined the horrific tragedy that would unfold. The Andrews family, once celebrated as a model of suburban success, was now irreparably broken. In the aftermath of Deanna's death, revelations about her toxic sexual relationship with Cassidy Morris cast a chilling shadow over the family's once spotless reputation. Emotional abuse, manipulation, and desperation emerged as central themes in the narrative, transforming the public perception of Cassidy from a promising young woman into a victim of unthinkable torment. Cassidy's arrest set the stage for a highly publicized legal battle that rocked Leavenworth, Kansas. The trial began in late November 2019, drawing crowds eager to witness the unfolding drama. Prosecutor Brian Chung, a seasoned district attorney known for his assertiveness, painted Cassidy as a calculated young woman who murdered Deanna to escape the consequences of their secret affair. In stark contrast, defense attorney Lisa Martell presented Cassidy as a victim of Deanna's manipulation, introducing damning video evidence of coercion and threats that pushed Cassidy to the brink. The emotional weight of the trial was especially heavy on Deanna's family, who struggled to reconcile the woman they loved with the actions revealed during testimony. After days of heart-wrenching arguments, the jury delivered a verdict of manslaughter, acknowledging Cassidy's psychological trauma while holding her accountable for her actions. Sentenced to 10 years in prison with the possibility of parole after 5, Cassidy's case ignited mixed reactions within the community. Some sympathized with her plight, recognizing the severe emotional strain she had endured, while others believed the sentence was too lenient for taking a life. The aftermath of the trial left profound scars on all involved. Cassidy, just 18, began serving her sentence at a local correctional center, where she sought to rebuild her life through therapy and education. Her once bright future was overshadowed by the tragic choices and events that defined her teenage years. Deanna's husband, Ryan Andrews, left reeling from the revelations of his wife's double life, struggled to rebuild stability for their 9-year-old triplets, Carlin, Castle, and Kingsley. Forced to step back from his career as a corporate lawyer, Ryan devoted himself to raising his children amidst the shadow of loss and public scrutiny. Destiny Morris, Cassidy's mother, bore her own share of guilt and heartbreak. A single mother who had worked tirelessly to provide for Cassidy, she grappled with the painful realization that she had overlooked signs of her daughter's suffering. Destiny became a steadfast source of support during Cassidy's incarceration, visiting her regularly and advocating for her eventual rehabilitation. The quiet suburb of Leavenworth, once defined by its sense of community and order, found itself grappling with the dark realities laid bare by Deanna's murder and the subsequent trial. Friends and neighbors, who had once admired the Andrews family, were forced to confront the fragility of their seemingly perfect lives, haunted by the knowledge that such tragedies could happen anywhere. Though life in Leavenworth gradually resumed its rhythm, the memory of Deanna Andrews' death and the complex web of pain and secrecy surrounding it lingered, serving as a stark reminder of the hidden struggles that can shatter even the most polished facades. Stay glued to this channel for more crime stories, share your thoughts on the story, and like and subscribe to the channel. Until next time when we bring you more stories, stay vigilant.